Hi, I'm Jess Hoffman, Academic Advisor for Political Science. Let's talk about how to read the advisement report. Students and advisors can find instructions on how to run an advisement report by going to this website here. If you are a student, click on Students, Academics, Viewing your standard advisement report. You definitely want to run the standard advisement report, which you'll see right here. And then when the option comes, you definitely want to view the report as a PDF. The PDF is necessary to make sure that you get all the information you need about how the Paul's major requirements are being fulfilled. You may need to allow pop-ups. If you are an advisor, go to Instructors and Advisors, Advisors, Viewing the Standard Advisement Report. And here are the instructions on how to do that. Again, make sure that you run the standard report, and when the option comes up, make sure that you view the report as the PDF. So this is an example advisement report for a fake student, Jonathan Husky. At the top of the PDF, you see a key. Things that are highlighted in orange are unfulfilled. Things that are highlighted in blue are in progress or they're planned. So if you're a student who's used Plan by My Requirements, courses that you entered into your planner will populate in the advisement report. Make sure you know that these are only planned courses. They're not completed and they're not in progress courses. As you move down the page, you see catalog year is highlighted in orange. This is always going to be the case, so don't worry about that. It's always going to say not satisfied. The next thing that you see is pass-fail course limit, which documents which courses the student has put on pass-fail. In this case, no courses have been put on pass-fail. Following that is Content Area 1. This is how the university requires Content Area 1 to be fulfilled, not how CLAS requires it. CLAS requires that Content Area 1 be fulfilled in a more detailed way. So to see if those requirements have been met, you need to look at the section labeled Areas A through E, which if we scroll down, is right here, and we'll get to that in a minute. Both versions of Content Area 1 need to be completed, but typically if the CLAS version has been completed, by default the university version has been as well. So if we go back and look at the university version of Content Area 1, underneath the section header you can see the rules for completion. Students must pass 2 courses taken in 2 different subject areas. Underneath that is a list of courses the student has taken that fulfill Content Area 1, but the advisement report is specifically pulling out History 1501 and Music 1003 as the courses it's using to fulfill this requirement. On the next page, you see similar information for Content Area 2. You see the rule for completion, the list of Content Area 2 courses that have been taken, and then the 2 courses specifically being used to fulfill Content Area 2. Part of the requirement for filling Content Area 3 is that students must take a lab course. So you'll see where the advisement report has pulled out the specific lab courses taken. Only one lab course is required. So if the student had taken a non-lab course as their second content area 3, you'd see it in the section that says all content area 3 courses are listed here. The other requirement for filling content area 3 is that the 2 courses used must be from 2 different departments. So in this case, the student took Chem and Bio. The next section, 6 different subject areas, outlines how a student is meeting the rule that courses from content areas 1, 2, and 3 have to represent 6 different subject areas. Typically, this isn't an issue. Content area 4 requires that one course must come from a list of courses designated as international, right here. You'll see that the advisement report has pulled out Anthropology 1500 and Pulse 1202 as courses that are international. Other courses that could be used to fulfill content area 4 are listed below. For this particular content area, students do not need to represent 2 different subject areas. The advisement report then moves on to documenting how the competencies are being fulfilled. First up is the language competency. In this case, the student took 3 years of Italian in high school. So their language competency is fulfilled. If a student took fewer than 3 years of a language in high school or no language, you'll see an entry for Elementary 1, Elementary 2, Intermediate 1, and Intermediate 2 waiting to be fulfilled. The other things that you might see would be the notation other, which usually means that the student is fluent in another language. Or you may see a list of courses being used as substitutions for the language competency. The next competency is writing. The part of this requirement that must be fulfilled first is taking first year writing. Well, you can see several course options listed here. Only English 1007 is currently offered. Sometimes a student will transfer in a course that partially fulfills the first year writing requirement. They may have English 91002 or 91003. To fully fulfill the requirement, they would need to either take English 1007 or transfer in one of the 2 transfer courses they don't have. So if a student has English 91002, they need to transfer in 91003. If they have 91003, they need to transfer in 91002. After the first year writing requirement has been fulfilled, students have to take 2 W courses, one of which has to be in the major at the 2000 level or above, like it says right there. You'll often see this requirement repeated when you're looking at the major section of the advisement report. So here you can see the students' 2 W courses, and you can see that one is in political science at the 2000 level or above. Next up is the quantitative competency. Again, you can see the directions for how to fulfill the requirement listed under the heading. Because one of the cues has to come from math or stat, you'll see first that the advisement report has pulled out the courses that meet that requirement. Underneath that, you'll see all the Q courses that the student has taken. The last competency is environmental literacy. You can see the directions for fulfilling the requirement, and then the course that the student took to meet that requirement. Under total units and GPA, you can see the student needs 120 credits to graduate. They've taken 77, and they need 43 more. The advisement report calculates this optimistically, and by that I mean it counts all in-progress credits, including those with temporary grades, as taken. Ultimately, if any of those in-progress credits aren't completed satisfactorily, the number of credits left to reach 120 will be impacted. Also in this section, you can see if the student has the 2.0 minimum cumulative GPA needed to graduate, and you can see how many credits they've taken at the 2000 level or above. At least 45 are required to graduate. Then we come to the section that outlines how the student is fulfilling CLAS's version of Content Area 1. You can see the rule for fulfillment, and then you can see which course is fulfilling Area A, B, C, and D. The rule says that a fifth course must be taken from any of the categories A through E. The fifth course does not have to come from category E. That's just how the advisement report labels that fifth course. What you do want to be aware of is that 4 different academic units have to be represented amongst these 5 categories. Now we move into the major section of the advisement report. At the beginning of the section, you can see how many credits the student has taken and how many need to be taken, along with whether or not they have at least a 2.0 GPA in the major. The first requirement for the political science major is to take 3 courses at the 1000 level. And the advisement report shows which courses were taken. Say the student had only taken 2 1000 level classes. Say they'd only taken PALS 1002 and PALS 1202. The advisement report would list the student's 2 remaining course options, PALS 1402 and PALS 1602. Both would appear unfulfilled even though the student only needs to take one of them. Underneath the PALS areas heading, you can see the directions for fulfilling the requirement. Even though students only need to take a course from 4 subdivisions, all the subdivisions will be listed as potential options. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now here's where having the advisement report in the PDF form comes in handy. Student admin can't tell the difference between the sections of PALS 2998, so we'll always put these courses in the additional political science requirements section. Typically the title of the PALS 2998 isn't listed on the advisement report, so that means that if you don't know which section the student took, you need to look at their transcript. In this case, we'd look at the fall 2023 semester on Jonathan's transcript, and we'd see the titles of each section he took. Then, if we don't know which subdivision those particular sections fulfilled, we'd go to the Political Science Advising and Resources page, and we click on the box that says PALS 2998 sections. Then we click on Fall 2023. We see that the section that was titled Gender and Politics in the Middle East fulfills the Comparative Politics subdivision, and the section that was entitled The Trump Legacy fulfills the American Politics subdivision, and so on. With this information, we look at Jonathan Husky's advisement report, and we notice that comparative politics is not a subdivision that they fulfilled. So that PALS 2998 can be used to fulfill it. However, they have taken an American politics course. So that PALS 2998 would continue to be used as an additional major course. Once you've determined where the PALS 2998 should be placed, then you know how many subdivisions the student has actually fulfilled and how many additional major courses have actually been taken. Students need to take 4 additional major courses. So if one PALS 2998 is being used to fulfill a subdivision, so if we mentally move this first one up to comparative, that means that an extra additional major course needs to be taken in its place. Below that is the reiteration of the Gen Ed requirement that students have to take a W in their major at the 2000 level or above. Finally, we come to the related group. You can see the rule for fulfilling that requirement under the heading. If a student has a declared double major, dual degree, or minor, we can use those courses to fulfill relateds. However, the system doesn't know this, and it won't pull those courses in automatically. So the related requirements may appear to be unfulfilled. Similarly, the system won't know if a student's advisor has approved a course that's not on our pre-approved list to fulfill a related. So if the student doesn't have a double major, dual degree, or minor, they need to take courses from the list provided on our website, which is right here, pre-approved related courses. If a student has a double major or a dual degree, those requirements will be listed throughout the advisement report as well. If a student has a minor, those requirements are typically listed after the major requirements. And that's how you read the advisement report.